Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 episode number 143 based on novel. Swallowed Star 2 novel ongoing. Chapters are limited. Writer is continue writing the chapters. The novel daily 2 chapters is uploaded. That's why video length is small, so please understand guys. So let's start. Inside the Star Tower. Luo Feng sat cross-legged, the eye of life and death at his brow opened, observing the densely packed treasures before him, feathers, blood, bones, scales, skin membranes, as well as leaves, branches, sap, roots, mist, strange liquids, and mysterious substances. A dazzling variety, all sourced from low-level chaotic origin life forms. Low-level chaotic origin life form materials at the early stage God Emperor level, a total of approximately 5,000 units, with an average price of 300 chaotic origin crystals per unit. In the Nine Rivers Sacred World, at the early stage God Emperor level, I have collected at least 90% of all low-level chaotic origin life form materials related to life and destruction, Luo Feng thought. He had purchased everything available in Yulon City, but of course, he only bought low-level chaotic origin life forms, and only ordinary parts, as the slightly more important parts were too expensive. For the same low-level chaotic origin life form, while a single feather contains relatively little secret essence, acquiring multiple parts, blood, bones, skin membranes, etc., should allow me to obtain about 80 to 90% of the life form's bloodline secrets, Luo Feng thought. This was his method of poverty-style purchasing. If he were particularly wealthy, he could directly buy a refined, complete chaotic origin bloodline, or even directly purchase a life core, which would contain all the secrets of a low-level chaotic origin life form. Low-level chaotic origin life form materials at the mid-stage God Emperor, only 200 units in total, with an average price of 3,500 chaotic origin crystals per unit. Low-level chaotic origin life form materials at the late-stage God Emperor, only 10 units, with an average price of 40,000 chaotic origin crystals per unit. As for low-level chaotic origin life forms at the perfect God Emperor level, I was only able to purchase a single bottle of ordinary blood for 390,000 chaotic origin crystals. Luo Feng felt somewhat helpless. The stronger the low-level chaotic origin life form, the more evolved its bloodline. Especially those at the perfect God Emperor level, which are usually strengthened to their limit, just one more step of awakening, and they would have the potential to become high-level chaotic origin life forms. Every perfect God Emperor level chaotic origin life form was extremely difficult to kill. In all of Yulon City, only 3 palace masters had the potential to take one down in a one-on-one fight. And even they dared not act rashly, because these low-level chaotic origin life forms were no fools. They existed as clans and were naturally very cunning, even capable of setting up ambushes instead. Low-level chaotic origin life forms were far inferior to cultivators in terms of comprehension, but their intelligence was not lower than the average standard of origin continent. Killing them? Taking out the weakest, early-stage God Emperor level ones was one thing, as they were merely weak members on the fringes of their clans. But those at the perfect God Emperor level were high-ranking figures within their clans, sometimes even leaders, and they often worked together. This was also why cultivators had to stay within cities. If an all-out battle broke out, cultivators would not be able to defeat the low-level chaotic origin life forms. If I relied on hunting by myself, collecting this many materials would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Luo Feng's eye of life and death at his brow observed the vast array of materials before him. Yet, in the Nine Rivers Sacred World, such transactions were easy. In Yulon City, one could purchase vast quantities of items that assisted cultivation, various weapons, secret treasures, and even inheritances. But this time, Luo Feng primarily spent his resources on acquiring materials. Inheritance? According to Senior Yuan, exploring on my own is the best way. Luo Feng had great faith in Senior Yuan. Perfect inheritances and special inheritances were strictly forbidden from being spread beyond the God King level. This was because of past cruel lessons. Yuan and the others had confirmed that inheritances that were too powerful had an excessive impact on cultivators, ultimately destroying their paths to transcendence. Superior inheritances and intermediate inheritances had a weaker influence, but they still had an effect. learn from all things and explore my own path. Luo Feng's Eye of Life and Death observed again, even what seemed like an ordinary bottle of golden blood contained more than 10 times the hidden mysteries compared to when he had examined it in Yulon City. Within the Yulon City, his bionic Eye of Annihilation could only be considered a God-Emperor level observation method, capable of perceiving only surface-level secret patterns. But viewing the same bottle of blood on Origin Continent with his true Eye of Life and Death revealed far more details. The observational ability of a high-level chaotic origin life form allows me to see through low-level chaotic origin life form materials almost completely. Luo Feng sighed inwardly. Redeeming the Eye of Life and Death was truly worth it. These more than 5,000 low-level chaotic origin life form materials are the cornerstone of my cultivation path. Luo Feng understood that by fully analyzing them with his Eye of Life and Death, they would provide him with immense benefits. At the high tower of the City Lord's mansion in Huyang City. Morosa. A summons. Hearing the call, Morosa was slightly startled before immediately flying up to the pavilion, looking at his master Luo Feng, who was drinking alone. Master! Morosa exclaimed excitedly. You've come out of seclusion? In Yulon City, whether cultivating in seclusion or going out to hunt, Luo Feng was usually in a state of seclusion while on Origin Continent, only coming out occasionally when he had free time. I have some gifts for you. Luo Feng waved his hand, and a complete set of weapons and secret treasures flew out. Morosa looked at the floating weapons and secret treasures in surprise and excitement. After easily refining them, he quickly became familiar with them. The armor merged into his body, the helmet fused into his skull, and the gloves made his claws even sharper. There was even a formation diagram floating nearby. A full set of 8 weapon secret treasures, and they are all super powerful treasures on the path of destruction. Morosa was extremely excited. Super powerful secret treasures beyond the God King level on the Origin Continent were very rare, and those that suited one's own path were even rarer. Like the set of weapon secret treasures Luo Feng obtained after killing Emperor Yuan, he eventually sold them all because they did not suit him. Master, this is perfect for me. This set of secret treasures allows me to glimpse the path beyond the God King level. Morosa was immensely fond of these treasures. You have hope of breaking through? Luo Feng was surprised. No hope at all. Morosa shook his head helplessly. Seeing the path beyond the God King level only makes me understand how difficult it is. I have absolutely no hope. Morosa grinned. But with these weapon secret treasures, my strength can increase dramatically. On the Origin Continent, aside from you few God Emperors, Master, I can suppress anyone else. Even the Lord of the 10,000 Worlds Kingdom did not have a collection of weapon secret treasures as comprehensive as Morosa's. Luo Feng nodded with a smile. Go on, go on. He often secluded himself in cultivation on the Origin Continent, and Morosa was his strongest subordinate. Whether in the Milky Way God Kingdom or the Blade River sect, many matters required Morosa to take charge. With a full set of weapon secret treasures, he could better deter the emperors and monarchs. Of course, on the other hand, Morosa had also made great contributions, and this could be considered a reward. A full set of early-stage God Emperor level secret treasures is actually quite cheap. Luo Feng thought. All these weapon secret treasures were at the early God Emperor level. In Yulon City, they were meant for those below the God Emperor level. Only the armor formation diagram was slightly more expensive, but the entire set of weapon secret treasures cost just 35,000 chaotic origin crystals. This time, Luo Feng spent a total of 100,000 chaotic origin crystals for Morosa and for the disciples and friends of Blade River sect, purchasing weapon secret treasures, auxiliary rare treasures, and other items. Since their strength was weaker, buying the cheapest items in Yulon City was sufficient. The ultimate God Kings in Yulon City put great effort into crafting their treasures and medicines, yet they sold them at extremely low prices, barely earning a labor fee. It's not that I'm unwilling to buy better weapon secret treasures, Morosa, but you wouldn't be able to unleash their full potential. Luo Feng smiled. As for other treasures, there was no rush. Without sufficient reason, it was better not to give them away. For example, rewards should be given when disciples made contributions or reached new levels of strength. How could they be bestowed for no reason? The ancestors of the two ancient kingdoms also required merit exchange for rewards. As for preparing a gift for his teacher, Emperor Chu, ordinary treasures were of no value. Being an emperor of the Flame-Wind Ancient Kingdom, his teacher already possessed them. As for truly precious ones, Luo Feng was still relatively poor for now and decided to go on more hunts to accumulate wealth before preparing a gift for his teacher. He believed that waiting 1,000 or 2,000 eras wouldn't be a problem for his teacher. My great Tao of life and death has reached the ultimate level. It's time to claim my reward points. Luo Feng thought. Infinite space, on the island at the center of the lake. Luo Feng stood by the lake and began practicing his great Tao of life and death. Having comprehended it fully, every move flowed naturally. World in the palm. A vast and enormous illusory palm appeared, larger than the entire lake island, with a world being born at the center of the palm. Luo Feng was standing within this world. Like a divine creator within the world, he casually performed an ultimate-level secret method, seamlessly combining them into forbidden moves. Suddenly, Luo Feng sensed an information transmission from the imprint in his palm. Infinite space has finally confirmed my breakthrough. Luo Feng smiled and checked the message. Trialist, Luo Feng of the Origin Continent, you have successfully opened up a complete new Great Tao. This path is formed by fusing the essence of life, death, and destruction, and its foundation far surpasses ordinary paths. Evaluation of the new path, perfect. Reward points, 200,000. You have received all reward points for pioneering a new path. Before jumping out of the cage, if your spiritual will manage to break free first, you will also receive the highest reward for spiritual will. Since the establishment of infinite space, fewer than 100 individuals have achieved the highest rewards in both opening up a great Tao and spiritual will breakthrough. Over 70% of them have already jumped out of the cage. Reminder, it is forbidden to kill any mind creature. Violators will be permanently expelled from infinite space. Total reward points, 254,093.03. Luo Feng was somewhat excited. 200,000 reward points? This instantly made him much wealthier. For reference, the Eye of Life, which greatly benefited his cultivation path, cost only 120,000 reward points. Now, he could afford to exchange for two similar treasures. Obviously, Senior Yuan and the others were willing to grant greater rewards to those with higher talent. There are less than 100 people who have opened up the Great Tao and received the highest reward for their spiritual will? And over 70% of them have jumped out of the cage? Luo Feng pondered. The remaining more than 20%, either they had died or were still cultivating. The proportion that had successfully jumped out was indeed very high. They are at the God Emperor level, but their spiritual will must also jump out of the cage? Luo Feng understood that those late-stage God Emperor and half-chaotic origin level cultivators who were comprehending the Tao likely had their spiritual will at the perfect God Emperor level. In the darkness sacred world, almost all of them were at this extreme bottleneck. But for the spiritual will to jump out of the cage? That was the stuff of legends. I really want to see just how difficult it is for the spiritual will to jump out of the cage. Luo Feng was in no hurry. His spiritual will had yet to reach the limits of the God Emperor level. This video will end here.